Okay, so what we'll do today, we'll look at our homework. It had independent, dependent variables. And I think I put a few more for practice. And then we'll look at our college placement. So what we'll do is the homework. It has independent, dependent variable questions. Then we'll continue with some to see how you understand it. And then we will look at college placement exercises. All right. Okay. So let me share my screen. Let's see. Share my screen. Let's see. So first we'll look at independent, dependent variables. Bring that up. So share screen. Independent, dependent. Yeah, this is the one, the homework. Maureen, you got that right? The table? Yes.
I got to check and stuff in my email.
Yeah, I sent that to you. You see that table? Homework?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay, do you see it on the screen?
Yeah, you can see it on the screen now.
Okay, the table shows the relationship between the age of a plant in weeks, W, and the height of the plant in centimeters, H. And your assignment there was to write an equation to represent this relationship. Now notice the weeks are in the first column, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4 weeks, right?
Yep.
And the height is over the second column. And notice it has 12, 24, 36, 48. Now, do you know the relationship between the weight and the height? I'm sorry, the weeks and the height? Do you see a relationship, Henri?
Let me see. 1, 2. Like it is like the height is like 12, adding 12, right?
It's like what? Well, you onto something. It's like what?
It's like 4 weeks. It's 12, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 is 24, so it'd be like adding 12 on to 12 all the time.
Adding 12. Now, remember the relationship had to be between the weeks and the height, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so let me just bring this up on the other side. Okay. Now, there's a relationship between the weeks and the height. What's the mathematical relationship between the weeks that the plant grows and the height that it grows? What would you say the relationship is?
Let's see.
What's the relationship between W, age of the plant in weeks, and the height that it grows? What's the relationship?
In week 1, it grows 12 feet height. Then 2 weeks, it's 24. 3 weeks is 36, and 4 weeks is 48.
All right. Now, how would you? Well, first of all, what is the dependent variable? Is it the height of the plant, or is it the weeks that the plant grows? Which one is the dependent variable?
The dependent variable would be the weeks.
No.
Or the height.
Height, because the height depends upon the number of weeks it grows, right?
Oh, yeah.
So your dependent variable H. Now, what would that be equal to? Let me just make that bigger. Okay, so what would be H equal to in terms of number of weeks? small h.
4 weeks.
No, what H would, how is H related to the number of weeks? Or another way of looking at it, how do I go from 12 to 24? And then
By
from
adding
20
12 on to 12.
no, but you gotta remember this is a relationship between H and W.
Uh-huh.
So what's the relationship between how high the plant grows and the number of weeks?
Oh, it would be height versus week.
No,
Oh boy.
the independent relationship is what? The weeks.
Uh-huh.
The dependent is the height.
Height.
Height is dependent. So what is H equal to in terms of W?
H equal to dependent.
Well, H is dependent. The height is dependent upon the number of weeks it grows. But how would you write this mathematically as a relationship between height and weeks?
Height times weeks.
No, height equal what?
Height equals the weeks.
No, it's not equal because that's a 1, that's a 12, that's a 2. How do I go from 1 to 12?
By adding. 1 to 12 by adding.
No, you've got a relationship here, Maureen. You've got a relationship between weeks and height. So looking at this table, to go from 1 to 12, I have to multiply 12 times 1, right?
Uh-huh.
And if
Oh,
I have 2
2
weeks,
weeks, it'd be 12 times
times
2.
that's right. So what would I have over here on the right for this equation then? What did I say? I multiplied by the number of weeks. I multiplied what number?
By 12.
That's right. Very good. So this will be 12 times W. That's your equation.
Uh-huh.
Okay? That's the equation of the relationship. And the relationship is between the age of the plant in weeks and the height in centimeters. So that's the equation of the relationship. All right. Now, if you know that's the equation, Maureen, in other words, if my weeks is 3, I have 3 times 12 and I get 36.
36.
Right? And if it's 4, I have 4 times
4 times 12 is 48.
That's right. Now suppose my weeks were 8.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What would be the height if it's 8 weeks old? If this plant is 8 weeks old, what would the height be?
Okay. The height would be, this is 4.
Now the weeks is 8. But since I know the relationship, I can substitute for weeks 8, right?
Uh-huh.
This is, here we go. Okay. So I put 12 times 8. Because now,
That'd be like,
so what
that'd
is
be like,
that?
that's like 84.
8 times 12?
Oh, 96.
96. Very good. Okay. So that means since you know the relationship, you can predict the plant's height for any number of weeks, right? So if it's 8 weeks, it will be relationship height equals 12 times W, 12 times 8. What would the height be if it were 10 weeks?
120.
That's it. Very good. So once you know the relationship, you can just plug in the independent variable, which is the number of weeks, and calculate how high the plant will grow in that number of weeks. All right. So Maureen, that's how you find the relationship. Now you just say add the 12, but remember the relationship has to show both the independent variable, which is W, and the dependent variable, which is 8. In other words, the height is dependent upon the number of weeks that the plant grows. Got it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that was number 1. Now let's look at number 2. Now number 2,
Let's still look at it.
yeah, I want you to read number 2. It's over here on the other side.
A plant seems to grow faster if it has more hours of sunlight. The more hours of sunlight, the less time it takes the plant to grow, or less time it takes the plant to grow. In identifying the dependent variable.
Okay, so you've got 4 choices. Which one is the dependent variable?
Okay. Sunlight.
We have 2 things here, right?
The dependent will be the hours of the sunlight.
The hours of the sunlight is dependent on what?
How the plant grow.
The hours is dependent upon the growth of the plant. Think about it.
Okay. The amount of growth time.
That's it. Very good, Maureen.
Okay.
The amount of growth time is dependent upon the hours of sunlight, right? So the dependent variable would be C. Dependent variable would be C. The amount of growth time is dependent upon the hours of sunlight, because it says what? The hours of sunlight, the less time it takes the plant to grow. So the more hours you have, the less time it takes for the plant to grow. That's the grow time. So the grow time is dependent upon the hours of sunlight. All right?
Yeah.
So that would be C. Now, the next one, I give you some independent and dependent relationships. So I give you time to read these and tell me which one does not represent a dependent and independent relationship. So take your time, read it, and then tell me which one of these, A, B, C, or D, does not represent a dependent and independent relationship.
Okay, got to read like the time of the day.
Yeah.
Outside temperature.
Well, that's
the one I have to read.
Well, yes. One of these, well, actually, 3 of them represent independent and dependent relationships. One of them does not.
Oh, one of them does not. Okay.
Yeah, A, B, C, D. 3 of the choices represents a dependent and independent relationship. One does not. So read through them and tell me which one does not represent an independent and dependent relationship.
Okay. I will say, okay. It is time of the day, outside temperature.
So is the outside temperature dependent upon the time of day?
Yeah.
Yes, because when you look at the weather forecast, sometimes you see it gets it goes up as the day go by, right? And then as they get later, then the temperature starts going down. All right. So the outside temperature is dependent upon the time of day. So that represents an independent dependent relationship. All right. Take the next one.
Number of gallons of gas in a car. Number of miles a car can be driven. Number of coins put in a gumball.
If you put in coins in a gumball machine, what depends on how many gumballs you get? What is that dependent upon?
Depending upon
Yes, if you're getting number of gumballs from a gumball machine, what affects the number of gumballs you get from the machine?
okay, the number of coins put into a gumball, number of gumballs from a gumball machine. Oh, with the number of gumballs from a gumball machine.
That's dependent upon the number of coins you put in, right? The more coins you
Yeah.
put in, the more gumballs you get. What about D?
D is a pace of a runner in a race. Time is take to complete the race.
Is that a good independent dependent relationship?
It don't look so to me
Why?
because it means funny. Pace of a runner in a race. Time it take to complete the race.
Think about the marathon.
Oh.
The time it takes to complete the race is shorter if the pace of the runner is faster. The pace of a runner that's faster will take less time to complete the race. So the time to complete the race is dependent upon the pace of the runner. That means the speed the runner is running the race. So that represents an independent dependent variable. When you think that the time it takes one person to complete the race is going to be less if their pace of running is faster than another person. In other words, if they can cover so many meters in a shorter length of time, that means their pace is faster. So the time to complete the race is going to be faster. All right. So which one would you say does not represent a dependent and independent relationship?
B?
That's correct, B. Because the number of miles you can go in a car, what is it dependent upon? It depends.
Yes.
Yes, it's not number of miles can be driven on a tank of gas. It's number of miles you can travel. That depends upon how much gas you put in the car, right? So it's not number of miles can be driven on a tank of gas. It's just the number of miles a car can be driven.
Could be driven.
Right. You don't need a tank, so that makes it not a good relationship. If you just said number of miles a car can be driven, then it would be because the number.
Yeah, because I understand now, because you had like number before gallons of gas.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because you could get so many miles per gallon, right? We call that MPH, miles, MPG, miles per gallon. All right. But when you say tank of gas, excuse me, that makes it not a relationship. So answer is B.
I got to look at for this in my phone, because I didn't see this in my phone. I got to check
You
now.
didn't see this? I thought I sent it.
I see you saying like 6 things for me, but I didn't see this, but I'm going to check again now.
Okay. All right. Now we're just going to look at some more independent variables. Well, I just need you to look at what this says and just tell me what is the independent variable, what is the dependent variable. Look at the first one, Maureen. Take your time. Tell me which one is the independent variable, which one is the dependent variable.
You mean on this one that mark continuing, independent, and
Right.
dependable?
That's
Yeah. More time people.
and we're completing our independent dependent variable exercise. This will be the end of that particular topic.
Yeah.
The more time people spend using social media, the less able they are to express themselves in conversation. Now, what is the dependent variable? What is the independent variable?
Is the time spending on social media.
The time spent using social media. What's the dependent variable?
Is, let's see, the less time that them express themselves.
Okay, so you're saying the dependent variable is what?
The dependable variable is the time they spend on social media.
The time they spend on social media is dependent upon what?
On the conversation.
They said the time spent using social media, the less able they are to express themselves. So it looks like you're saying that express themselves in conversation is affected by the time they spent using social media. So the independent variable would be the time spent on social media. And what does that affect? What does the time spent on social media affect? Ability to express.
Yes.
Okay. Ability to express. In conversation. And that's true because you see people actually on their phone texting and all more than you see them talking to people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you traveling on the bus or train or whatever, everybody's got their phones out. You don't see even people together. One is on the phone, the other one's on the phone. So that time spent on social media is minimizing the actual verbal conversation people are having. So the more time they spend on social media, the less able they are to express themselves. So expressing yourself in conversation is dependent upon the time spent on social media. And you see that when people go out to eat, they have the phone out at the table, right?
Yeah.
And so the person is saying, well, some people will tell you, like if you go to their house and they will put a place. I know a friend told me they were invited to this person's house, but they had a basket at the door, and that's where people put their phone when they came in. Yeah, they had people put their phone in the basket because they said, you know, how much conversation are we going to have if everybody's checking their phone? And that was a good idea because, I mean, you could do that just by yourself. You would need the people to do that. So if you got people over, you want to have some kind of a social interaction. It's getting harder and harder for people to do that with with the cell phones. So ability to express in conversation is dependent upon the time spent on social media. Okay, Marie, what about number 2?
Drinking energy drink is independent.
Okay, that's right.
The other one is makes people more aggressive is dependent.
That's right. Very good. Drinking energy drinks. You're right. That's the independent. That affects aggression. So the aggressive behavior is dependent upon drinking energy drinks. So the dependent variable is aggressive behavior, and it's dependent upon drinking energy drinks. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, let's look at number 3. Okay, number 3.
Okay. Taking a nap in the afternoon is the independent.
Okay, taking a nap. What's the dependent?
When you take enough afternoon, you get more relaxed the rest of the day.
Okay, so the dependent variable is relax and less irritable. So being relaxed and less irritable, less irritable is dependent upon taking a nap in the afternoon. Okay. Very good, Maureen. You're doing good. All right, let's look at number 4. I think we have maybe 2 more. Okay. Number 4. Okay, so what would you say about number 4, Maureen?
Okay. Well, it would say like when you're spending more time with the cat and the dog, it decreases the amount of stress, which is the independent.
So which one is the independent?
When you're with the cat and the dog, it decreases the amount of stress.
Okay, so what's the independent variable? That's just spending time, right? And what does that do? Spending time with the cat or dog.
Mm-hmm. And the other one that allow the person to feel better when they go to take the test.
Okay, so dependent variable would be what?
Performs better on tests.
Okay. Well, okay. Dependent variable is stress. This is stress. So we say decreases stress that allows,
To perform better.
yes, better tests. So the decreases stress, decreases ECR. Decreases stress that allows better test performance. So dependent variable decreasing the stress that allows better test performance is affected by the time spent with a cat or a dog. All right. I think we have just one more. Okay. All right, Maureen. What's the dependent variable? What's the independent variable?
Okay. The independent is eating breakfast in the morning.
That's right. Very good. So eating breakfast. Okay, what does that affect?
The ability to learn in school.
All right.
Increases the ability to learn in school.
Ability to learn. So eating your breakfast in the morning increases your ability to learn in school. So the ability to learn in school is dependent upon eating breakfast.
Breakfast.
That's why parents emphasize the children to eat something in the morning, because if they irritable because they're hungry and and lunch is later, then how can they concentrate so much on their work when they just worried about having something to eat? So it's better to have some breakfast in the morning, even if it's a breakfast bar and some juice or whatever.
You know.
So that's a good way to have that energy to start your day. All right. So this is the end of our independent dependent variables. Maureen, you did well on this. Okay. So we'll go on to our next. Actually, I want to look at. Okay. All right. So I'll do a new share. And new share is. All right. This is a new set. This is some selected college placement questions. All right. And they are in various categories, some in algebra, some in functions, some in number and quantity. All right. Now let's look at the first one. You see this, Maureen? What does it say?
Find the value of, that's an L?
Yeah, find the value of I.
Or find the value of I in the formula I equals the PRT when P equals to 200, R equals to 9%, and T equals to 4 years.
Okay, so that means we want to calculate I. Just copy it. So it's copy that. So I is equal to PRT. So to calculate I, we have to substitute P, R, and T. So what is P, Maureen?
P is 200.
Okay, so let's just copy this and put the values in. So the principal is $200. So this would be 200. That's our P. What is the R?
9%.
And how do we express that?
9% is, okay, like 0.09
That's
over.
very good. So you just write it as a decimal, 0.09. In other words, let me just put over here at the R because we substituted. Okay. So 9%, and you're right, you put it over 100, so that would be 9% equal 9 over 100. That's as a fraction, and as a decimal, 0.09, which is exactly what you said. Now, what about the time? How do you express the time? T.
You multiply the years,
Yeah, what is the T value?
4 years.
That's right. And the time is always in years. So this would be then times 4. All right, Maureen. Multiply that out. Tell me what you get.
Okay.
What do you get when you
Multiply
multiply that out? 200 times 0.09 times 4.
200 multiplied by 0.
0.09. You have your calculator?
Yeah.
Okay,
Multiplied by
200
4. Okay.
times 0.09.
72.
That's correct. You get 72. So that means your interest is $72. So what answer would that be? So what A, B, C, or D?
A.
That's it. A. I is $72. So answer A. Okay. Look at number 2, Maureen.
Okay.
Combining like terms. Tell me what the answer
Combine like there's 5 minus 5x to the power 2 plus x minus 2 to the power 2 and minus 6x.
So your like terms are going to be all of your x to the second power, that's x squared. So there's a minus 5x squared, there's a minus 2x squared. And then you have the x's of plus 1x. Remember, 1 is the default. And a minus 6x. So what is the answer? When you combine the x squares and then combine the x's, what do you get?
2x. So the answer would be
What's a minus 5x squared and a minus 2x squared? Remember, you combine the coefficients. So what would this minus 5x squared and minus 2x squared, what would that be equal to, Maureen?
minus 7x squared.
That's right. So it's a minus 7x squared. That means then you can eliminate B and you can eliminate C. So it's between A and D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's a plus 6x and a minus 5x?
Plus and a minus.
Plus minus
It's,
to subtract.
so a plus and a minus. So it will be, okay, we 5x
Plus or minus?
minus
That's right. So what's the answer?
A.
That's it. Very good. Answer is A. You combine all of your x squares, minus 5x squared plus and a minus 2x squared. Add the two minuses, a minus 5, minus 2, minus 7. So you eliminated B and C because only A and D have a minus 7. All right. And then a 1x and a minus 6x, you subtract, you get a 5, and you have more negative than positive. Plus 6 is the biggest absolute value. So that's how you get the minus 5x. Answer A. All right. Now, Maureen, number 3.
Okay.
Now, these are actually some questions I got from some of the college placement type tests, okay? And I think after going through the task, it's probably makes this easier because this is actually easier than some of the things you did on the task. All right, so let's go to number 3. This is a substitution, Maureen. Substitute for x minus 1. Tell me what answer you get. I'll give you a few minutes to calculate it.
I got this as calculate for x minus 1.
Well, you've got to substitute
Uh-huh.
minus 1 wherever you see an x.
Uh-huh.
That means you'll take this expression. Notice that's not an equation, that's an expression. So you put that, let's just put that here. And wherever you see an x, you're going to put a minus 1. So put a minus 1 here,
Minus 1 on the minus 4.
right? So that x is a minus 1, and that's squared. And then you put a minus 1 here. Now, do your multiplication and your adding. Tell me what you get, Maureen.
Okay, let me see.
Tell me what you get for number 3.
3. We gotta figure out this first. 3 plus 3.
Now notice you got to do the parentheses, remember PEMDAS, so you got to do minus 1 squared. So a minus 1
Minus
times a
1.
minus 1 is what?
It's 0.
No. Minus 1 times minus 1?
Is it 2?
No, multiplication.
1 is 1.
Yeah, a minus 1 times a minus 1 is what, Maureen?
1.
Yeah, it's just a plus 1. Minus,
Yeah.
like signs give you positive, right? So if you have a minus 1 times a minus 1, you get a plus 1, right? Because like signs multiply to give you plus. Like signs divide to give you plus.
So the answer would be B.
So what's your answer?
B.
Number 3. You said B. How did you get B?
I say 3 and 3 is 6 and 9 is 15. Minus 4 is 11. I add 3 and 3.
Okay.
Because we already do.
So minus 1 times minus 1 is a plus 1. So this would just be, if we square that, that would just be 1, right? So let's take the square because we did it. And what's a minus 4 times a minus 1?
A minus 4
times a minus 1. What's that?
is a 4.
That's right, a plus 4, right? So this 3 times 1 will be a 3 plus 9, and a minus 4 times a minus 1, that gives you a plus 4, because minus times minus gives you plus, right? So when you add this together, what do you get? Plus
I get 3 and 3 is 6 and 9 is 15 and 4 is 19.
Okay, so what's the answer?
D.
That's right, answer D. So how are you getting 11?
I was adding 3 and 3 is 6 and 9 is 15 and subtracting the 4 from it.
Oh, but see, the minus times minus gives you a plus, right?
Okay.
A minus 4 times a minus 1 gives you a plus 4.
Okay.
Right? There again, multiplying like signs gives you plus. So now you have a plus 4. 6, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 9 is 15, plus 4 is 19. Answer D, which is 19.
Okay.
All right. All right. Now, I want you to do number 4. Solve for x. And you've got an equation here. So that means you want to get all of your x's on one side and your constants on one side. Just copy that. Get your x's together. So get your 2x and your x on one side, and then get your 5 and your -8 on one side. Tell me what answer you get.
Okay. Bam, bam, bam.
What are you going to do first?
Two x plus 5 equals to 8.
So how do you get the x's on one side?
By saying x and x is 0, right?
No, you want to get your x's together. In other words, you want the 2x and the x on the same side. And you want the 5 and the -8 on the same side. So let's start with the x's. How do you get this x on the right over on the left? What would you do? What operation?
Multiply.
No. The x is added here. So you want to get the x over here, you do the opposite of addition. So you'd have to subtract x. That's right. Subtract x.
X from both sides.
That's it. Subtract x from both sides. Okay. So let's just do that then. Okay. Subtract the x from both sides. So let's just copy that. Now subtract x on the left, so that would be minus x. Subtract x on the right, minus x. So what do we have on the left side, Maureen? What's 2x minus x?
X minus the x is 2x.
No, 2x. Remember, that's a 1. Default is a 1. So that's really 1x, right?
Oh, 1x. Oh.
So subtract the
The
coefficient.
0.
No. 2 minus 1 is what?
1.
Is 1. So that's going to be 1x.
1x.
1x. And then we have plus 5.
5.
And what do we have on the right side? What's x minus 8?
8 minus 1. 8 minus x.
What's x minus x?
0.
0. So that's going to be left with just minus 8. Okay, plus 0. All right. So now we have, just copy this. So we have 1x, which is really x. We don't have to put the 1, that's the default. And minus 8 plus 0 is just minus 8.
8.
Now, how do we get the 5 over on the side with the minus 8? What do we have to do? I need to get this constant over on the right with my other constant.
You add 5 to both sides.
No, because then I have 10.
You sidetrack.
You have to do the opposite. So you've got to subtract 5.
Sidetrack 5 from both
It's
sides.
all, that's right. You have to do the opposite. So if you're adding, you do the opposite, which is subtracting. So subtract 5 from
both sides.
Okay. So let's do that. Let's take this equation. Subtract the 5. Both sides of the equation. Keep it in balance. So this will be x plus 5 minus 5 minus 8. Subtract on the right. So that'd be minus 5. So what do we have on the left side, Maureen? What's x plus 5 minus 5? What does that give you?
X minus 5.
We have an x plus 5 minus 5. What's a plus 5 and a minus 5?
a +5,
and a -5.
+5, and a -5 is a 0.
That's right. So this will be x plus 0. And what's a -8 and a -5? What does that give you?
A -13.
That's it. Very good. -13. Excellent. So an x plus 0 equal to -13. So x then equal
Thirteen.
-13. What answer is that?
D.
D. That's right. Answer. Very good. All right. That was number what? 4. So solve for x -13, which is choice D. All right. Now let's look at number 5.
Uh-oh.
That's the square root. So we want to simplify 2 to the 5th power minus the square root of 9. And we know square root of 9 is a perfect square root. Right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So what's 2 to the 5th power, Maureen? That means 2 times itself 5.
25.
How are you getting 25?
Or 2, you said 2 to the 5th power, right? So I multiply 5 by 5.
No. 2 to the 5th power means 2 by itself 5 times.
Oh,
Right? See, 2 to the 5th. Let me just put it right here.
well, that'd be like 32.
2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2. That's right. 2 to the 5th power would be what? Just put this here.
Would be 32.
2 to the 5th really means 2 times 2
times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2.
So you have 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32.
32.
Okay, so 2 to the 5th power is then 32.
Uh-huh.
What's the square root of 9?
3.
3. So 32 minus the square root of 9, which is 3. And what's that equal to, Maureen? What's 3 from 32? 29. So what's your answer?
C.
D. Very good. Answer C. Very good. So you had to raise to a power, exponent, and then you had to take the square root of a number which has a perfect square root. So that worked out good because the square root of 9 is 3. 2 to the 5th is 32. 32 minus 3, 29. Answer C. Okay, now Maureen, the number 6.
Okay.
What's the answer for number 6?
Okay.
Remember, the 5y is multiplied by everything within the parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
And when you multiply exponents, you add them, right? So what's your answer for number 6?
C.
Okay, 5y times 3y to the second gives you 15y to the, no, you gotta add. Remember, you've got a 1 here, and you got a 2, so you know that's gotta be a 3.
So it's D.
So it will be a 5y times 3y to the second.
That is
That gives you
15y.
15y to the third, and then 5y times minus y give you a minus 5y squared. So what did you say your answer was?
C.
You said what? Oh, I thought you said it correctly. What was your first answer?
D.
Why did you change it? D is correct, Maureen. Yeah, because 5y times a minus y, remember you add the exponent, so that's y to the 1. That's y to the 1. That's how you get 5y to the second power. Okay, so answer D. All right, let's put that on the line by itself. All right, so answer D. So you multiply both, you multiply the 5y times everything in the parentheses. Y to the 1, y to the 2, add 1 and 2 is 3. 5 times 3, 15. 15y to the third. Then 5 times 1, that's 1y, is 5. And then add the powers, that's a 1, that's a 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So that's how you get a minus 5y to the second.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's look at number 7. Okay,
Mhm.
find the
Find the
value
value
of L.
of-
This is a substitution. Wherever you see a M, you want to put a minus 1. Where you see a N, you want to put a minus 4. So take your equation, make your substitutions, tell me what answer.
Find the
you get.
value of L. If it is
There's the L value, there's the L equation. Now substitute. So you're going to substitute M and N values. Substitute M and N values in this equation. Tell me what you get. So wherever you
Okay.
see an M, you want to put a minus 1. Where you see an N, you want to put a minus 4.
Okay.
What answer you get? M is a minus 1, so minus 1. And the N
And
is a
that's
minus
4.
4. That's right. And tell me what answer you get.
Okay. Minus 3. Okay. Minus gonna do 1.
Minus 1 times minus 1 times minus 1 gives you plus. Give you what, Maureen?
Minus 1 and a minus 1.
Yeah, minus 1 times a minus 1 times a minus 1. What does that give you?
A 3.
No, 1 times 1 times 1 times 1.
You said a minus 1.
A minus 1
Mhm.
times a minus 1.
Minus 1.
Remember, this is a multiplication. Times a minus 1. What does that give you?
A minus 3.
Are you getting 3? What's 1 times 1?
Is 1.
Yeah, and then 1 times 1 again is 1. So it's
Is
not
1.
adding now, it's multiplication. So
Is
what's
1.
so a minus 1 times a minus 1 times a minus 1 gives you what?
A minus 1.
It gives you a minus 1. Okay, so you've got a minus 1. So minus 1 times a minus 1 is a plus 1. Then a plus 1 times a minus 1 gives you a minus 1. So
Mhm.
this becomes then, let's just put our minus 1 there. So L be minus 3 times a minus 1. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what's a minus 3 times a minus 1? Minus 3 times minus 1 gives you what?
Minus 1. Is it minus 3?
No, like signs give you plus. Remember the rule.
Plus 3.
That's it. A minus times a minus gives you
Okay,
a
a plus. Yeah.
A plus times a plus give you a plus. Remember your multiplication and your division sign rules. Like signs give you plus, unlike give you negative. So a minus 3 times a minus 1 gives you just 3.
3.
That's the default. So 3.
3
And
plus a minus 4.
And what's a minus times a minus?
A minus times a minus is a plus.
That's right. So this will then be equal to 3 plus 4. And what's that equal to?
7.
7. So what's your answer?
B.
That's right. Answer B. Remember, this is making sure you know that you understand your signs and you know your sign rules. Okay, that's why you see a lot of these examples with negative numbers to make sure you know how to apply your correct sign rules. Right?
Mhm.
Let's look at number 8.
Okay.
Okay, I want you to solve that one. Number 8. Remember, everything in parentheses, you're raising it to the third power.
So the answer would be A.
That's it. 3 to the third power is 27. Y to the third times the third power is y to the ninth. So answer A. Very good. So 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So you apply the power to everything in parentheses, both to the 3 coefficient and the y to the third. Okay, number 9. Okay.
For A.
Now here's the equation. I want you to take this equation, solve it for A. Copy it here. Now, what's the first thing you're going to do? Remember PEMDAS. What do you do first?
Do the parentheses first.
That's right. So you're going to multiply 3 times everything in parentheses. And then once you do that, you can combine your like terms and then you can solve.
So that would be 3.
You said you do the parentheses, so let's just copy this. And 3 times A is just a minus 3A, right?
Yeah.
And what's a minus 3 times a minus 4?
Plus 1.
No, multiplication.
Oh, 12.
Yeah, it'd be a plus 12 because minus.
Yeah, plus 12.
So this would then be plus 12. All right.
Mhm.
So now you got 8A minus 3 times A minus 3A minus 3 times minus 4 is plus 12. Okay, now
Uh-huh.
what's the 8A minus 3A?
A, 3A minus
8A minus 3A.
7A.
What's 3 from
No,
A?
5.
That's
5A.
right. That's right. So that's going to be 5A because you subtract the coefficients, right? 3 minus 3 from 8 is 5. So that's plus 12
12 minus
equal
minus.
minus 3. Okay, minus 3. Now we need to get the 12 on the side with a negative 3. So what do we do, Maureen?
We subtract 12 from both sides.
That's it. Very good, because it's added. You have to do the opposite. Subtract 12 from both sides. Let's do that. Subtract 12 from both sides. The left side. So I copy this, subtract the 12 on the left. So that's minus 12. And subtract 12 on the right, minus 12. So what do I have on the left side? What's a 5a plus 12 minus 12?
5 and 12 is 17. Minus 12 is
Hey,
5.
Wait a minute, Maureen. 5a, you can only combine like terms. You can't combine 5a with 12, because this is not a 12a.
Oh,
So what's a plus 12 and a minus 12?
that's 0.
That's right. So this will be 5a plus 0. And what's a minus 3 and a minus 12?
A plus 7.
Oh, you
A minus and
add
a
like
minus.
signs. So what's a minus 3 and a minus 12?
15.
Minus 15. Okay. So 5a equal minus 15.
15.
So what is a equal to? What must be multiplied by a? What must be multiplied by 5 to get a minus 15?
Or what am I multiply by 5?
Yeah. A
To get
must be what value that you multiply by 5 to get a minus 15? What number times
3.
5? Yeah, a 3. But if you have a negative 15, then that has to be what?
Negative 3.
That's right. Must be a negative 3. So A equal minus 15 divided by 5, and that's equal to negative 3. So what's the answer?
B.
B. Answer B, which is a negative 3. Okay, very good. Okay, now number 10 is really a quadratic, right? Quadratic equation. Let's just now we can express this as what? How else could we write this to show you it's really a quadratic? What would you have to do? Copy in here. You can subtract 12 from both sides, right? Subtract.
12 from both sides.
And that would give you, let's just do that. Let's just take this and subtract the 12. Then we can get it in our quadratic format. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So let's just do that. Subtract the 12. The right side, subtract the 12. What's 12 minus 12?
12 minus 12 is 0.
That's right, 0. So what we have then is x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. Now it's really in the format of our quadratic. Now, we need to find the factors. So we have x, that expression, times x. So for number 10, what numbers must be in these parentheses? Remember, you multiply them and get the minus 12, and you add the numbers to get the minus 1 in front of the x, the 1x. So
4 and 3.
4 and 3. All right, they must be 4 and 3. Should it be well, 4 times 3 is 12, but that's, we need a minus 12, right?
So it should be a 4 and a minus 3.
A 4 and a minus 3. But 4 times minus 3 times a minus 3 is a minus 12. But a
Yeah.
plus 4 and a minus 3 give you a plus 1. Remember, this has to be a 1. All right, so what must the numbers be?
Okay. You want a number that could go into minus 12, right?
Actually, this B should be,
It should be a 4 and a 3.
I'm sorry, it should be a minus 4. Because you want the bigger number negative, so this comes out a negative 1. So this then must be minus 4x minus 4. That's one of the factors.
And 3.
That's right, and x plus 3. Because the numbers, the two numbers you multiply, minus 4 times plus 3 must give you the minus 12, right? Right here. And then when you add them, you should get a minus 1. So the bigger number has to be negative. So a minus 4x and a plus 3x would give you a minus 1x.
Mm.
So your answer would be B.
Okay.
Sir. Because remember, when you pick out your factors, Maureen, you must multiply them to give you the constant.
Okay.
You must add them to give the coefficient of the x. So to get a minus 1, the bigger number has to be the 4. So a
Okay.
minus 4x and a plus 3x gives you a minus 1x. That's what this is right here, a minus 1x. And then a minus 4 times a plus 3 gives you a minus 12.
Mhm.
All right, so that's your answer, number 10. Quadratic. But now notice they gave you x squared minus x equal 12. But you can get this in the format, because remember the quadratic formula is ax. Here. Okay, so it's ax squared. Let's put the x squared there. This is the general format of the quadratic. Ax squared plus bx plus c equal 0. So ax squared, let's bring this over, plus bx plus c equals 0. So this is ax squared plus bx plus c is 0. That's the general format, where a is a coefficient of the x squared, b is the coefficient of the x, and then c is the constant. So that's why we can take the 12 and subtract it and get 0, because then it's in the general format. Ax squared, where a is 1. Bx, b is 1, and then minus 12 is our C.
Okay.
So that's the general format of the quadratic. AX squared plus BX plus C equals 0. And that's what we have here. AX squared, where A is 1, BX, where B is a negative 1, and C, where C is a negative 12. Okay. So sometimes you'll see the quadratic and it may not be in this format, but you can get it because if your constant is on the right side, you can put it on the left side by doing the opposite operation. Okay, so if it's a plus, you subtract. If it was a minus, you'd add, and then you get 0 on the right side.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go to number 11. Okay, Maureen, I want you to solve this one. Solve this one. Solve for P. This equation
Okay.
and solve it for P. How would you solve that for P?
Okay.
Now, how would you solve this for P?
Which one are we doing?
We're
We're
doing
doing number 11.
11. Let me just bring this down some. Okay. We're doing number 11, but let me put the I equal PRT.
The formula I is 3,000.
The
The
I,
percent,
yeah, go ahead.
the I is 3,000, and rate and the percent is 6%, which is 0.06, and the time is 5 years.
Right. Now, how would you solve for P? What would you do to this equation to say P equals something? What would you do on this equation?
I would say P equals the 3,000, which is a loan, right?
No, don't put it in numbers yet. Just solve this equation. I equal PRT. Solve that equation for P.
P is for
What would you do to both sides of the equation to get P equals something?
subtract from both sides. No.
I subtract because this is a multiplication. PRT means P times R times T.
Right. That is something plus rate and time, right?
Yeah, that's principal. We're looking for P, but we want to solve that equation for P. So I want to know, what do you do to this I equal PRT to get P equals something? What do you have to do to both sides of the equation?
Divide by both by PTR.
You divide by one?
PTR.
No, you want just P left. So what would you have to divide by? You're right.
By the percentage.
No, just use the PRT. So what do I have to divide by to get P?
Okay.
I want just P, about just the P remaining here on the right. What do I have to divide both sides of the equation to get just P?
By P?
No, P you want left, right? Because that's what you're looking for.
Hmm.
So what I have to divide by?
The percentage by R?
Well, no, but you still would have T.
Yeah.
So you've got to divide
P
both sides.
size by RT.
That's it, Maureen, by
Uh,
RT. Very good. Divide both sides by RT. Let's do that. And then you'll just have P left. Okay. So let's take that. We'll divide. Want to divide both sides by RT. So let's just put the line in. Over here we'll have RT. T and RT right here.
Next different.
So this becomes, let me just move this over. T. Okay. So this becomes P, RT over RT is just 1, right? So on the right side, I'll just have P. So let me just put so this would be then P I over RT equal P. So let's put our RT underneath the I. So this RT. Okay. Now, what is I equal to, Maureen? So let's substitute in for I.
3,000.
Okay. So substitute, this would then be 3,000. So I is 3,000. Put that here. And RT would be what? So what would I put for RT? R times T. What is R?
RT.
Gonna be?
R will be 6%.
How would I express that?
0.06.
That's it. 0.06. And that's time. What is T?
5 years. 5.
5. That's right. Here. And that would be equal to our P. Equal P. Okay. Now, 3,000 divided by 0.06 times 5. What's 5 times 0.06, Maureen?
What you said?
What's 5 times 0.06? When you multiply 5 times 0.06, what do you get?
I get 9. I get 0.3.
Okay, we got 0.3. Okay, so that's 3,000 divided by 0.3. Okay, that's so 3,000, you got 0.3. Okay, let's put 0.3 here. Okay, 0.3 here. and that's equal to P. So 3,000 divided by 0.03, what is that equal to?
10,000.
Okay. Right, because 3,000 by 0.3, that's the same thing as saying 30,000 by 3, right? Because you could shift the decimal point over, and that's 30,000 divided by 3, which, like you said, is 10,000. So 30,000 divided by 3, let's put the 3 here. And that's equal to 10,000. So what's the answer?
D.
D. That's right. So answer So that means the principal of 10,000 would give you interest of $3,000 at a rate at 6% in a time of 5 years. Okay. Now, remember, Maureen, I equals PRT, but you don't always solve for interest. You could be solving for principal. You could solve for rate,
Okay.
or you could solve for time. So if you know any 3 of these, you can solve for the other ones. If you knew interest, principal, rate, you could solve for the time. So you just have to take the equation and do the math and solve it for what you're looking for. In this case, it was P. So we solve for our P, which is interest divided by RT. And we were given interest, we were given rate, and we were given time. Now, if we had to solve for rate, rate would be I divided by PT. Because we divide both sides by P times T.
And if we were doing for years, which is T,
and if you do PR. That's right. Very good, Maureen. T, if you knew principal, rate, and interest, you could solve for T. T would be I divided by PR. Okay. Very good, Maureen. Let's look at, that was what, number 11? Let's look at number 12. Now, number 12 is a substitution. And it's a function. Okay, so wherever you have an X, you want to put a -2. So I want you to solve this one, Maureen. You have an f of X. That's the way we refer to functions. F of X is equal to this expression. So let's write that. Now you want f of -2. So wherever you have an X, you want to put a -2. Okay, so we say f of -2 and put a -2 here for the X. Put a -2 here, you have X again. And you have X again. So Maureen, I want you to do the math and tell me what you get. Do the math, tell me what you get for f of -2.
Okay, for instance, first. minus 2.
Minus 2 times a minus 2 times a minus 2 times a minus 2. That's minus 2 to the 4th, right? Just a hint for you. Whenever your power is an even number, you will get the opposite sign. So if it's a minus, then the value will be plus. If it were an odd and a minus, you'll get a minus. Okay, so a minus 2 to the 4th power, whatever you get here, it will be a plus. Whereas this one, minus 2 to the 3rd power, will be a negative. Okay. So that means a minus 2 to the 4th power gives you what, Maureen?
Okay. That is 4 multiplied by 2, right? That is 4 4s.
And then times a negative 2.
They get 32.
2 times 2 is what?
4.
4 times 2 is?
8.
8 times 2 is?
16.
So it's a 16. It would have to be to the 5th power to get the 32.
Oh.
All right.
So that'd be a minus 16, right?
No, remember, minus time minus is plus.
A plus.
Plus time minus is minus. Then minus time minus is plus. So minus 2 to the 4th power will give you a plus 16.
Plus 16.
Okay.
Okay. The plus 16. Okay. And then let's see.
Have an answer.
Well, then you got to multiply 3 by 2, 3 to the power minus 2, right?
Okay, so the minus 2 to the 4th power, you got 16, right?
16,
So
yeah.
let's put the 16 here.
So then 3 to the power minus 2.
And the minus 2 to the 3rd power is what?
That's 3 to the 6, 6 to the 12, 12 to the 24.
Minus 2 raised to the 3rd power is what? What's the minus 2 times a minus 2?
Minus 2 is the 4.
Yeah, and then what's the plus 4 times a minus 2?
4 times a minus 2 is an 8.
Yeah, it'd be a minus 8, right?
8, yeah.
So this would be a minus 8. Okay, so let's, right, so we got this one. Let's take this 3 because we rate. And what's a minus 3 times a minus 2?
A minus 3 times a minus 2 is
Right.
a 6. A
That's
minus it, a plus 6.
Plus 6. No, plus.
Plus 6, yeah.
Minus and minus is plus. So that would be a plus 6.
Okay. Ouch. Okay.
So what's your answer? It's a plus 6. Plus 8.
So minus this, minus it. So then
Minus 2 times 16 is what?
14 or 32.
32. That would be a minus, right?
Minus
Minus
yeah,
times
minus
plus.
32.
So that's a minus 32. And what's a minus 3 times a minus 8?
Minus 5
Multiplication, Maureen.
or 24.
24 plus 24.
Yeah.
So we got a plus 24. Now what does that add up to?
Okay.
Okay, so we got a minus 32.
That's 32,
And what's a 24 plus 6 plus 8?
30, 38, and 32 is 70.
8.
70.
That's a minus 32.
Yeah.
So what's a minus 32 and a plus 38?
Oh,
Unlike signs, you subtract.
yeah.
So what's that equal to, Maureen? Minus
What's it
32 and
say?
plus 38. What does that equal to? Subtract
6.
6. That's right. Be a plus 6. Okay, or 6. So the
6
answer, that's right, answer A. Now you get the 70 if you forget to put the negative sign there. Here, like here, if you just put your negative sign, you got 32 and 24 would be what? 56. 8 is what? 56 and 6, 62 and 8, 70. That's when you make a mistake and don't put that sign there. Because
Okay.
sign is a negative. So you got a plus times a negative gives you a negative. Okay. So they put an answer there that you get when you make a mistake with your signs. All right. That was number 12. Okay, let's look at 13. 13. All right, Maureen, how do you think we solved? How do you think we solved 13?
Find the equation of a line through the point 3 and 1.
B -1 and 4, 3. Now, those are XY points. Now, how do you find slope? First,
Is add
find slope.
what the slope is.
So how do you find slope?
What is something plus something b?
No, difference in y
Y.
divided by the difference in x.
Oh, I see.
Difference
The
in
difference
y
in y
divided by
divide.
okay, difference in y divided by the difference in x. So let's put the difference in x below that. That's what you want to do first.
Oh,
Difference in
Mhm.
y divided by the difference in x. Now
yeah.
remember, ordered pairs, you have what? X, y, x, y.
X, Y, X, Y.
Okay, so now I'm gonna put all this over on the other side so we'll have room to work with it.
X, Y.
So
But
what are your y values for me?
my Y value is Y1.
Yeah, well, this is X, Y, X, Y, right? So your Y values are -1 and 3. Your X values are 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Okay. So we could
Yeah.
we could take this 3.
So the 3 minus 1 would be 3, it would be X, right?
Well, it's a minus 1, right?
Right. Mhm.
Because there's your Y and there's your Y. Now you could go either way. You could say -1 minus 3, but it works out the same regardless. But if you say 3 minus a -1, then you got to say 4 minus 3. So this would be divided by, so your x's would be 4
4
minus what?
plus 3.
That's it, 4 minus 3. Okay, what's a 3 minus a -1?
A minus 3.
No, a 3 minus a -1 is a 3 plus 1, right? Because minus is plus. So that should be 3
3 plus.
plus. Okay, let's get rid of the underline. Here we go. Okay. So we have 3 plus 1 plus 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3.
4 minus 3. 4 minus 3.
3 subtracted from 4.
1.
1, that's right. So this will be 3 plus 1, and that's equal to 4.
4.
And 4 over 1 is what? What's 4 divided by 1?
Is 4.
That's right, it's 4. Okay, so 4 over 1, let's just put underline here. And 4 over 1 is equal to 4. So slope
Is 4.
is equal to 4.
4.
Now remember the equation of the line, we're trying to get it to look like what? Y equal mx
X plus
plus b, right?
B.
Now we know m is the slope, that's 4, right? So we can substitute our slope. Slope of 4. And we're substituting that in our y equal mx plus b. So this becomes y equal mx plus b.
B.
Now m is 4. We solved that, right? So that's
Yeah.
So let's just put the just copy this. Okay. So let's just put 4. So m is our slope. So that'll be 4 x plus b. Now, Maureen, how do you think we solve for b? We've solved for the slope. Now we want to get the equation of this line. How do you think we solve for b?
By subtracting B from both sides?
No. To solve for b, we have to substitute our x and y values. You have to substitute
X and Y value.
x,
So the X value,
y values. Now it could be any set of them. You could use 3 and -1, or you could use 4 and 3. Doesn't really matter, right? But suppose we use the 4 and the 3, then y would be what, Maureen? What would be, okay, we want to use the point
We use the 4 and the
4
3.
and 3, all right? So use the point 4 and 3. What's the y value?
3.
Yes, right, that's a 3. So that means this will become, we take this equation, now we'll put the 3 for the y, 3 equals 4, and what's the x?
4.
That's right, the x is 4, that's from the 4
Yeah.
and the 3, x, y. So x is 4, so that would be times 4 and plus b. Now we can solve for b. So what's 4 times 4?
16.
That's right. So this will be 3 equals 16 plus b. Okay, so what would b be equal to, Maureen? How would you solve for b?
B will be 1.
No.
Mhm.
What number do you add to 16 to get a 3?
Number 16 to get 3. 19.
No. What number do you add to 16 to get a 3?
Yeah.
It's got to be a negative.
13.
Yeah, but it's got to be a negative, right?
13.
It's got to be a negative 13.
Yeah.
So if you subtract the 16 from both sides, you get a negative 13. So, okay, so subtract 16
Both sides.
both sides. But mental math, you can say, what number do I add to get to 16 to get a 3, and it has to be a negative number because you're reducing it, right? So
Mhm.
if you subtract the 16 from both sides, and you'll get the negative 13.
Mhm.
Let's put this here. So subtract the 16 on the right and subtract it on the left. So minus 16. So that means you'll get what? Minus 13 minus
Mhm.
13 equal b. So if minus 13 is equal to b, so you've got, let's just put the equation here. Y
Mhm.
equal mx plus
That's B.
b, right? So
Mhm.
y would be equal, we found the slope was 4, right? So that's
Mhm.
to 4x, and then b, our y-intercept was a minus
Will be
13. So
minus 13.
minus 13. Now, what answer is that? Let's go back up here. Look at our choices. Which one that says
A.
4x minus 13? That's right.
A.
Answer A. That's right. So number 1, first step, find your slope. Then once you
Mhm.
find your slope, you can take your general slope intercept equation, y equal mx plus b, put that slope in for that m, and then you can use any of those xy values.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And we used the 4 and the 3. We could have used the other one. They gave us 2, right? But either one you can use. You use the 4 to 3, or you use the 3 to minus 1. 3 for the x, minus 1 for the y, or 4 for the x, 3 for the y. Then your only unknown is your b. And once you solve for b, then you have your whole slope-intercept equation where you have the slope and you have the y-intercept. Questions, Maureen?
No.
I think we have we have actually two more. I think I'll just give you just those for the homework. 14 and 15. All right. And in multiple choices, and I'll put that down for your homework. 14 and 15. And you just give me the choices A, B, C, D. Now I gave you let's see. I think I gave you.
So you're gonna say 14 and 15 for do for homework.
Yes, those last two. And then did I give you the homework on the college placement math? Well, this was 12, 13. Did I give you the one before this that went up to 11?
You give me one. You give me an algebra review worksheet number 2. It marked V equals the B dt. Solve the formula for D.
Okay, what was the first one on that one? That was the algebra review.
Worksheet 2.
Okay. Worksheet. Did you do that one, Maureen?
I didn't do 1 and 2. I do 3 and 4 and 5, but I didn't do them 2. I can understand them 2.
Okay, so you did algebra worksheet number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, and you did part of that. All right. So your homework would be, okay, we'll go over that one next time because you said you didn't do
Okay.
some of those.
Uh-huh.
So we'll do the algebra worksheet number 2 and then the last 2 problems of what we went over today for the.
Oh, you said that what you said the V represent?
Mhm.
It said V equals the B dt, right? And then it got solved for the formula D. But I don't understand what the word V for or the word B for.
What was that?
The algebra review worksheet was V equals the B dt. Solve the formula for D. And you give us B/TV, V/BT, BVT, or VT plus B.
Okay, let me.
But I didn't know what the word before. Then the second one was B equals the 1HM over 2. Solve for the formula H. And you give us
Okay.
1/2.
Okay, I gave you V equal BD.
D
B
T
D
T.
T. And then you were to solve for what?
The formula D.
Okay, solve for D. Okay. This is similar to that interest problem we went over. Solve for D. Okay. All right. So Maureen, what you do here is divide both sides by BT.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Divide
Divide
both sides by BT. B times T. So what you will have is you'll have V divided by BT equal D. That's your answer. That one of your choices?
let's see. Divide by F1 my thing was what?
You said solve for D, right?
Yeah.
And it's solve for D. This is D,
And
right?
one of my answer was B. One of my answer was BVT,
Okay,
and one was, no, I got these answers. B/TV and V plus BT and BVT and VTB.
well, if you saw the list with D, the answer should be V divided by B times T.
Uh-huh.
That should be one of your choices. That's
Yeah,
not
I
one of
got
your-
it. I got here. Oh, I got VT/B and BVT and V/BT.
Yeah, that's it. That's the same thing. V
Oh,
slash BT. Except
I see.
yeah, that's what that is. Except I use
Okay.
the horizontal line, but you use a slash. V/BT equal to D. That's the answer.
Okay.
Yeah. You
Okay.
divide both sides by, you're looking for D, and that's multiplied by BT.
Nice.
So you'll do the opposite, divide by BT. So
Oh.
it's V divided by BT.
Oh.
That answers your question, Maureen, on that one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But I'll make note of that algebra worksheet number 2. We'll do that one next time and go through that one. But your homework then is just those 2 questions that 14.
So every time we do that, now you're gonna send to me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I can send you this whiteboard too. You want this?
Uh-huh.
I can send you this. Okay, this I saved. So save. So I saved it so I can send you that.
Okay.
All right, Maureen. So thanks for joining in. I'll send you what we went over. Your homework is just those 2 questions we have left, and you did excellent today. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So long.
Okay. Catch up friends for
All right.
Thursday.
All right. Bye bye.
Okay. Have a good evening. Okay.
You too now.
All right. Bye bye.